You have probably seen this happen at least once in your life. You are working on a group project, everything is going well for the most part, you are doing your own part for the greater good, but you will have this one dude named Kyle in your group who is in the background sniffing glue or eating his own boogers, not doing anything of importance, at most adding a line or two in the project, and eventually your project is done. And this one guy goes around saying, "Yeah, I did all the work on this project." Okay, maybe a bit hyperbolic, but this is essentially what is happening in the gaming industry right now. You might have heard about this amazing game called Concord 2. Oh, sorry, Highguard. Essentially, this game came out and was worked on by former Titanfall and Apex devs. And yeah, like I said before, it essentially has become the new Concord. A new breed of shooters, they say.
Enemy vaporized.
Manning up.
Stopping off to grab some gear.
Lighting them up!
Listen up. The storm's forming the shield breaker. Let's move. Right out.
Strike fast. Strike true.
Right. Dome is broken. Let's finish the job. The wardens are set up with bombs, so just walk up to it to plant one. Nice work.
Ends up being the most generic looking shooter of all time. I mean, the main game mode for Highguard is just an amalgamation from every popular shooter from the past 10 years. Okay, how about another developer? Back 4 Blood was heavily marketed as the successor to the Left 4 Dead games, but once again it failed to live up to those expectations. The player count dropping from 65,000 to 1,000, compared to Left 4 Dead 2, a game from 2009, still pulling just under 30,000 concurrent players. Oh yeah, remember Evolve? I don't. I was reminded of it when I did research for this video. Another game by Another game made by Turtle Rock and was marketed as from the developers of Left 4 Dead. Once again, another flop. Do you remember Callisto Protocol? I don't. Again, I had to be reminded of this game when I did research once again. Callisto Protocol was made by ex-Visceral Game Studios devs who made the Dead Space games. Once again, a very bland and forgettable game. And of course, failing to live up to the expectations of the Dead Space games. Hell, we can even count Concord in this equation. Concord was also developed by ex-Bungie developers and Activision developers. And I hope I don't have to remind you what a disaster Concord was. Plus, the dev team responsible for Highguard also hired people that were that worked on Concord. You literally cannot make this shit up. Like, what the f***? Next up is Mind's Eye. I don't blame you for forgetting about this masterpiece. This was made by former Rockstar devs, and that just boiled down on being the most soulless looking video game of all time. I'm beginning to see a pattern here with these games. Soulless, bland and generic video games made by former devs. Next up is Obsidian's previous games, them being Avowed and Outer Worlds 1 and 2. Once again, bland, generic, boring and sterile looking games. Now, I don't remember this being part of Avowed's marketing, but in both trailers for Outer Worlds 1 and 2, they were heavily marketed on being made by the creators of Fallout and the developers for Fallout New Vegas. But somehow, they failed to live up to those expectations. I remember playing Outer Worlds 1 about 5 years ago or so, but I could not get past 10 hours before getting bored with the game. The setting, the characters, the world, the themes, the game just didn't captivate me at all. The only reason I even have this game is because I love New Vegas. And New Vegas is one of my favorite games of all time. So as a result, I did not even buy Outer Worlds 2 or Avowed. Because I already got bamboozled once, and this time I did not fall for it. Now, remember the Kyle that I mentioned in the beginning of the video? Essentially what I am saying here is that there are a lot of these Kyles in the gaming industry right now. Former developers of past great games, or most likely some dudes in the background sniffing glue and at most doing some coding here or there, but are now LARPing as the developers of the previously great games, and using that as a marketing stunt for their future games. Even Highguard had to remove any mentions to Apex Legends and Titanfall on Steam's store page. And in Back 4 Blood, only 7 members of the original team that made Left 4 Dead actually made Back 4 Blood. Even worse for Turtle Rock Studios. The development was initially worked on by Turtle Rock Studios, but they were acquired by Valve. And after that, the bulk of the development was made by Valve. Okay, so what's the point of me saying all this? Well, my point here is that in many of these cases, many of these developers who created these past great games were not actually that great to begin with. Or if they were great, their talents have either diminished over the years, or they have become ideologically captured by the political landscape of the gaming industry as a whole. For example, Leonard Boyarsky of Fallout fame. He was responsible for creating the art style for Fallout games. The setting, the art style, the iconography, everything about Fallout has become iconic at this point. Compare that to Outer Worlds 1 and 2.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, in my opinion it's not that good. Also Tim Kaine, who is the creator of Fallout, also worked on both Outer Worlds games. And yeah, both of them were not really good games. Like I said, I dropped Outer Worlds 1 because it was boring as hell. And the second game had a lower player count than the first game. In my opinion, Chris Avellone was more influential for Fallout than Tim Kaine was. Sure, Tim Kaine may have created the franchise, but Chris Avellone was the one who expanded the lore for the games. He even created the Fallout Bible, which unfortunately is not canon to the Fallout lore anymore. It would have been used in the unreleased Black Isle Fallout 3 game, Van Buren, but the game was unfortunately cancelled due to Interplay going bankrupt. Later on, Chris Avellone would actually use some of the ideas from Fallout Van Buren in Fallout New Vegas. For example, Caesar's Legion, the Big MT, and Joshua Graham. And unfortunately the Fallout Bible has been mostly abandoned by Bethesda. The Fallout franchise nowadays is just a big clown show.
Wanna have sex?
You mean use my cock?
The once great developers losing their talents over the years is not the only bad thing about this situation. What could be arguably the worst situation here is that we don't even know what some of these devs did at these previous studios. Some of the major ones that I listed previously are obvious, but what these smaller devs did there is not really known. And these are the cockroaches of the gaming industry. They were most likely doing some small work here or there, maybe even some major work. But that's the thing, we do not know for certain. This is speculation at this point. There's a reason I mentioned the group project thing at the beginning of the video. These massive game projects are basically massive group projects. Like it literally is a team effort type of thing. No one guy is responsible for the great games we have had in the past. It was always a group project. And this is exactly why this sort of labeling does not work. How much of the success that these earlier games have garnered was actually attributed to one individual or several individuals in the studio? Almost never. It was always a group effort. It was always a group of great people coming together and forging these great games that we love. And what also helped in the past with these older games was that these games were created by nerds, younger and older men coming together and forging a great game that they would like to play. There is a reason why the footage that I have been using is the development footage from older games. What can you see when you look at this footage? Well, I can tell you. It's that the studio is 99% men, and especially nerds. And what do nerds like? Video games. Nowadays, when you look at the development team, it's just full of women on SSRIs. And as a result, we have gotten this masterpiece.
One of my favorite things in the map is the cat cafe. There's a karaoke bar, which is a lot of fun. Those is call outs where it's like, I got him in the cat cafe. That's gonna be fun to say no matter what.
My name is Grant Collier, studio head of Infinity Ward. For Call of Duty 4, we have continued on our technology that we created for Call of Duty 2. The graphics are just coming alive in Call of Duty 4. There are 2,000 less polygons in all the characters in Call of Duty 4 than there were in Call of Duty 2. I mean, the normal maps are just that good. So you're seeing a real rich improvement in the technology, and it's really driving it forward. And it's going to be one of the most technically advanced games coming out. Back during Call of Duty 1 and 2, we were very hardcore about making sure that we hand animated everything. But now, with the immense volume of animations that we have in Call of Duty 4, we really had to rely upon motion capture. It's our first time doing it, and wow.
I'm Vince Zampella. I'm the co-studio head at Infinity Ward. We have a highly advanced animation system built from where COD 2 started, but then added on top of that layers of translation and movement. When you come up to a corner, you'll approach it the right way, your feet will move the right way, you'll slide into the corner the right way and appear around it so that everything is tied together in a smooth, believable, realistic human fashion.
With Call of Duty 4, we've spent a huge amount of time with the lighting. So now you see, not only will the character create a very detailed shadow on the wall behind him, he will also self-shadow. You'll see the arm will cause a shadow on the body, and as the arm moves, the shadow moves.
And this is the reason why we have AI now monitoring COD lobbies. And this is my speculation, but this could also be the reason why some of the major devs have struggled with the modern games they have made. They might still be talented, maybe, who knows. But since the vast majority of the gaming industry right now is poisoned by these blue-haired individuals, the main developers have to cater to these individuals because they will screech out at the HR department otherwise and eventually get them fired. And this is the reason why we have gotten Dragon Age the Veilguard, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, Concord, The Last of Us 2, and also the ones that we are still getting in the future. Intergalactic the Heretic Prophet, 1348 Ex Voto, and the list goes on and on and on. You cannot convince me otherwise that anybody looked at these games in the early production period and thought, yeah, these look good, these would be amazing games. But since these cockroaches have infested their way into the gaming industry, nobody ever dared to question these or tell them that these look dog shit. I'm sure you've heard of this game called Knight's Path that was revealed a while ago. Well, the devs of this game are based, and the Access Media wasn't happy about this at all. As a result, it has garnered over 200,000 wishlists on Steam, me included, proving once again that this so-called modern audience is not an actual thing. It's just these blue-haired individuals that have infected their way into the gaming industry. Hey, remember KCD1? I do. It was a great game, but this also happened with KCD1 unfortunately. Lead developer decided to be based, and the Access Media was mad about it. Your favorite franchises and the new games in general that are coming up are not safe if we do not get rid of these type of people from the gaming industry. The problem with these people is they always somehow fail upwards. Did you know that one of the writers that Bethesda has hired was one of the writers for Dragon Age the Veilguard? I talked about this in my previous video. And like I said previously in this video, Wildlight Entertainment had hired people from Concord to work on Highguard. Don't you absolutely love when people fail upward? These are the people that we should have gotten rid of long ago, but they somehow still keep coming back. Honestly, the only time I have seen this happen where made by former developers was actually warranted was with the Titanfall games, made by former Call of Duty developers, and specifically by Vince Zampella and Jason West. Both of them working at Infinity Ward, and both of them were responsible for COD 1, COD 2, Modern Warfare 1 and Modern Warfare 2. And once again I have to unfortunately say, I have not played either of the Titanfall games. My reason? I was a COD guy, and specifically with Titanfall 2, the same year Battlefield 1 came out, and that was my main game for like 2 years. But what I have seen, the Titanfall games are good games, but yeah, this is the only time where this phenomenon has actually worked. or at least the time that I can think of. If you have any other examples of this phenomenon, give me an example in the comments below. Nowadays, when a game is marketed as made by former developers, it's just a massive red flag, and it's always very disingenuous. For example, with the Highguard situation, Vince Zampella and Jason West were not part of that game. They did not have anything to do with the game, and it shows. This is even happening with one of the upcoming games currently. The Blood of Dawnwalker was revealed just about a year ago, and it's being made by the director for Witcher 3. And so far the game does look decent, but I'm not getting excited just yet. I have been disappointed by this several times already, so I am holding my breath. I thank you if you made it this far into the video. Like I said in my previous video, I will be making a Skyrim video next. It's going to be a long one, so bear with me here. Anyways, thank you for watching, and see you next time, guys.